Islam, as I explained to you, that it means peace, compassion, love, not violence, not terrorism. There is no religion came from the heaven ask people to kill each other. No.
Part of the problem with European civilization is it values itself. It doesn't really value anything that's different. So what you have that's similar to us, we accept and we like, but what you have different from us, then it's not good enough. But in a confident, more open and more egalitarian society, you would value anything that is worthwhile to society, even if it's different from yours. What is it that Muslims have, that Indonesians have, that Greeks have, that Italian philosophers have, that they can bring to the table of civilization? We've had a huge focus throughout the West on money. Money does not bring happiness. Money brings wealth and consequently poverty on the other side. But we don't value civilization. What is it that makes you a good human being? We're pulling back from its multiculturalism. It's going back to really white Australia ideas where constantly people are being put on the back foot and they're being labelled as others, you know, people of Middle Eastern appearance and, you know, you people and you grubs and you this, and it's that othering which makes them retreat into their own communities amongst safe friends, and it is causing a lot of difficulty for young people to say, look, I was born here, I'm an Australian, I speak the same language as you, I want to have a job like you. I'm contributing to society, I've got a degree, and the kids that don't make it through the system, the kids that don't do well at school because their parents are struggling or economic reasons, they're the ones that become very alienated, and that's a problem for all of us.
If current growth trends continue, Islam will be the most popular religion in the world by the mid-21st century. Originating in the 7th century, Islam is the second largest religion in the world, but is now contemporarily being defined by the actions of a few misguided men. Where were all the Muslims before 9/11? Centuries of artistic and cultural contributions are being ignored. Gradients in beliefs, understanding, and individuality are being homogenized with simplistic, shallow media coverage that leads to common misconceptions about Muslims generally. Seldom does media coverage associate Muslim beliefs with harmony, compassion, and diversity, implying that the only lessons being shared in the Islamic world are radical instructions on how to destroy all other religions.
Muhammad conquered the West, the eastern part of the Mediterranean. He conquered Cyprus, where I work, about 643 AD, and Egypt about the same time, and then across, right as far as Spain, of course, Islam spread. But at that time, of course, Rome was everywhere, and all the centers of great Roman art around Antioch, Damascus, for example, became great centers of Islam. When Islam first began in the 7th century, when Christianity was also coming into prominence, I remember reading that, in fact, Islam was considered as a kind of cult of Christianity or Judaism because it held to the tenets of the Bible and it believed in Jesus as a prophet. We identify the West with London, Paris, New York, and we identify Islam perhaps with Iran and Iraq. Whereas, in fact, of course, there are these huge, moderate, peaceful, democratic states, like, for example, Indonesia, which is primarily an Islamic culture and a very tolerant one. Is Turkey, and of course the Ottoman Empire, an Islamic empire, but very tolerant of diverse forms of Islam and of other religions, existed for 400 to 500 years in conjunction with Christianity. And I think this is something that people don't realize, that the tolerance of Islam has been a much more pervasive factor of that history than the recent growth of fundamentalism.
Silma Ihram converted to Islam more than 25 years ago. She established the Muslim Women's Shop and Center in 1979 and pioneered Islamic schooling in 1983, was the principal and founder of the Noor al-Huda Islamic College.
I was baptised as a Methodist and went to Presbyterian school, Anglican school, and I became a born-again Christian when I was 15. So in travelling through the desert in Australia, and I'd been actually felt that I was being sought after by God. I was very much aware of God from the time I was 11, but wasn't interested. Yeah. And when I was 15, I caved in and I said, okay, my life is yours. And that sort of changed my future totally. So from then on, I went through different churches asking questions and trying to get more knowledge. And then I travelled to Indonesia, and I was amazed by the knowledge that they had, which was from the becak driver to the village chief. They had a conception of the worldview and man's place in it, which was very simple, very powerful, and at the same time you could engage not only in a spiritual but a fairly academic discussion, which with a lot of Christians you couldn't. You were either the holy roller type, you know, powerful faith and, you know, pray to God and so on, or you were the academic. You couldn't.
The Islamic culture between the 8th and the 11th centuries was enormously important in retaining and translating the Greek texts into Arabic. And a lot of those mathematical propositions were built on the earlier works of Pythagoras, Strabo, Aristotle, Plato, who were all very influential in ways of describing the world and ordering it. And the Renaissance texts that became so influential, translations from the Greek, were actually translated from Arabic into Latin. So if without the Arabs, we possibly would not have had a Renaissance in Western Europe.
Islam is a very scholarly religion, but the scholarship in Islam has been denied because of the loss of authority of the institutions that used to teach, the reduced role that scholars play throughout the Muslim world because of colonialism, and the replacement of Islamic scholarship with Western scholarship and Western law.